Welcome to Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas. Backed by popular demand is the intrepid Drake Bailey for another question and answer session. You may want to make some popcorn and buckle your seatbelt. This one will be another wild ride. Here is your host, Gail of Gaia, with her guest, Drake Bailey.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, and we're here with the intrepid Drake Bailey. How are you doing, Drake?
I'd be doing finers. Well, I've been getting a lot of intel from different places and people. I found that for a change, I don't know if you're familiar with Ben Fulford, but he puts out a report. Yeah. I talk to him on a regular basis, or used to. I'll be talking to him more now that he's come out with a comprehensive report that was not bogus in any way, shape, or form that I could find. So his most recent report would be one I would suggest everybody read. It carries all the factual stuff with it. Okay? All the things that are
that's good to know. That's good to know, because I heard that sometimes it's mixed with good and bad.
Yeah, well, he took the creepy crawlies out of it and got it straight. So he did a good job. It'd be nice if this lamp would act right. It does what it wants to do.
Kind of goes like this, doesn't it?
Yeah, it slowly will. I guess it'd end up on the desk if I left it alone long enough. But anyway, there's two main things right now in our society that are a problem. The foremost one is when somebody violates your rights and nobody complains. They don't make out a formal complaint and send it into the Civil Rights Commission. They don't bother to fight for what they should have. They don't bother to be their own enforcer. If you're not willing to object, and that's what the form is. It's basically a complaint form, pretty much. If you're not willing to complain, then your rights weren't violated because you gave them up.
Silence is not golden in situations like that.
Yeah. And the main thing that we got going on is that there are right now are a lot of so-called wannabes and think they are's and people of that nature who will trample all over you if you allow it. Okay. Now, the other part is that everybody, a lot of the younger generation, and I'm not going to say everybody, I started to, and that would be wrong. A lot of the younger generation does not think that we have something that they can participate in the way that society is structured. I'm inclined to agree with that to an extent. Now, one of the main things for young people to understand is that there are certain employable skills that you can pick up for next to nothing, and you can do it fairly quickly. It takes about 2 years instead of the 4 or 5, whatever it is now for a bachelor's degree. And it's called community college and or technical school. You can become certified in whatever area floats your boat most or is best applicable to you. And you can make a fairly decent living in the process if you add classes to whatever their curriculum is and or decide to go to a college, full-fledged 4-year college. You're talking about spending another 2 years in night school. But you come out with a baccalaureate degree, which is one step up from certification. You've got three or four basic degrees, but one is certification. That means that you know how to flush the toilet or whatever area you might be getting into. Then you have an applied science degree. That's your 2-year at the community college and or technical school. Then you have your bachelor's degree. A lot of people call them BS degrees. Well, to an extent, that's true, but not entirely. And the neat part about it is once you have gotten your feet wet in terms of some kind of applied science you're using from like the tech school, you are in a position to make some real interesting determinations. The thing about all of education is, first, they don't teach you squat. Anybody don't know that? You go ahead and get a degree, and you go to work for a big corporation, and they take you and put you in school immediately. The new hires all get to go to school. You got to know how we do it. Well, so that doesn't change the fact that electricity operates in a certain way. It doesn't change the fact that there's night, day, and all this. What it does is it shows you that there is a very big breach or crevasse or the edge of nothingness sitting there looking to gobble you up. There's a lot of people that went out and screwed up. And one of the screw ups is the kind of degree that is not well, it's not directly related to employment. Mm-hmm. Most of your degrees that are oriented to employment involve a lot of science, and enough that you're going to get tired of it. I guarantee you will. Science, okay, that is directly applicable to the area that you're going into, be that sociology, electronics, whatever, doesn't matter. And the liberal arts degrees, see the goose egg? you get a whole lot of nothing for that. Now, having a degree qualifies you for a lot of things, but if you have a specific interest, that's first, some talent in that area, and enough brains to read a textbook, and most of them are not as technical as people like to think they are, you can learn enough to be able to come out of that employable. You'll get offers before you finish school, among other things. This is the norm.
It's really important that people be able to learn, be able to write and communicate, because that aspect, doesn't matter what you're in, is actually quite important.
Yeah. Well, they've got a bunch of stuff, and I'm using it. Stuff should be a 4-letter word, but it's 5. The thing about it is, there's a lot of stuff that people are now insisting that be officially defined. Whether that's on a legal basis or not is not the importance of it, but a definition everybody can hold on to. In other words, show me the definition for sociology. Get out 5 textbooks. Well, sociology is simple. It is the fact of your interaction in social climate.
Yeah.
Meaning,
we have that problem in law too, because legalese is a real issue. A dozen different meanings for the same word. But anyway,
anybody that has any kind of legal problems should look up definitions on Black's Law Dictionary. It is online. You can research it. So, but the main thing that really blows me away is that we have all these outings, all of these exposures, and very few things come of it. In other words,
yeah, let's talk about that, because that's a big problem.
Well, first of all, you got to complain. In other words, if it's your rights, be they constitutional, civil, or moral, or whatever, and the legalities involved in it, and it's very simple. If you don't complain, you give it up. Just that simple. And it don't matter what it is, whether it's racism, nasties, just being nasty, or what. But we got all this exposure going on, and how come people ain't going to jail when it's been proven that they've committed treason? Well,
why is that? Why aren't they going to jail?
Well, several reasons. The main one is that they've already decided to go with a straight up enforcement. And when I say straight up enforcement, this is huge. I don't know if anybody watches, reads stuff on Facebook and posts and whatnot, but the United States Marine Corps has been authorized to act as law enforcement. And it's legal. It's done if done correctly under the Constitution. People say, "Oh no, it ain't." Well, you need to do your homework because it is. Now, the second part of that is that the authorization also includes the National Guard of the states and all the militias. Now, you think about how many people you're talking there. It used to be in the Wild West, he who was quick draw, you can argue with the guy, he's faster than everybody. Okay, well, that's changed. With the heavy influence of either money or politics or positions of power, whatever it may be, the influences or influential capabilities of these people has been denigrated. Why? Because a lot of people got tired of being stomped on. How would you like to have somebody tell you that because of the color of your skin, you suck canal water? Well, nobody wants to hear that.
That would rather tick me off, I'm sure.
Yeah. So the suspicion of the problem is this. Many people, and this used to be, it's not the case as much now as it was, used to be that you had white people having an extreme advantage. They had schooling in their home of differing sorts. Mom and dad had the time because they made enough money to be able to interact with their child to the extent that they knew that their child was getting some kind of information at the very least. Okay. Today, they run out the door if they come in the door at all. Okay. They're not required to review anything at home. Why? Well, that goes directly to finance. And if you're poor, the problem becomes how do you put food on the table when each of you, if you happen to have two parents in the household, each of you got to work 2, maybe 3 jobs just to put food on the table and pay the rent. These things have to be addressed. One of the main problems is everybody says, "Oh, $15 an hour will fix that." No, it won't. $15 an hour is survival level. And a lot of people don't understand it because out of the $600 check, you're going to get $400. Okay, and $1,600 a month ain't a whole lot of money.
That's not a lot of money at all. Not anymore. Okay.
Your freedom, actual true freedom, starts around $20 an hour and goes up from there. There's 2 ways to do that. Either you are technically or physically proficient at something, whether it's laying bricks, putting roofs on, whatever it may be, to earn that, or you have a position with a large company that pays that for what you do. One of the two, and those are basically the 2 options. So, some 70% of the people don't get what they should have in terms of, they call it white privilege, and I'll call it that. They don't have the privilege necessary for them to advance themselves. And
it's happens with sex too, differences, gaps, and so on.
Well, I saw a nice story. This guy graduated, first one in his family. All right, now this is recent. Graduated high school and college.
I'm a first-generation college person.
Yeah, well, the first time in his family. Now, come on now, everybody. If you don't graduate high school, you're squat, supposedly.
My dad and mom did not have a high school degree. I'm going to tell you that right now, so I can relate to this.
What I did was, I took the GED, General Education and Development Test, and I maxed that mother out. I come in at A-. The first time. Second time, they did some special tests because of some of the answers I gave. The interesting part about it is you have a whole bunch of people out there that don't believe that there's any future. And, at whatever age group, I'd say from the 30s down to college age, the high school or general education systems, public education, not only don't they teach you anything, they try to dumb you down. Oh, that ain't right. the hell it isn't. Okay, there's coming up now the kids, and I'm talking about in general, all of them, have found that, yes, the answer they gave was correct. It didn't fit what they were supposed to be learning, so it was marked incorrect. And they are taking every measure necessary, to include lawsuits, in order to rectify and correct the BS that everybody's putting out. So several things go into this. First, forget drugs. Second, be sure that you eat decent food. Forget Mickey D's and all those
Garbage fast food.
well, it's sort of like it's sort of like the trough for pigs, pretty much, in terms of the quality of it. And I bet they all just love that. Well, they're all guilty. The problem is that you cannot come up with that much of something, be it beef, pork, fish, whatever, without cutting a few corners. And some of the corners they cut have been dramatic, okay? In some cases, and they found this to be true, which is, and McDonald's really hates it, they found parts of humans ground up in their friggin' burgers.
Yep.
No wonder it tastes so different.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
And they soak their French fries in poison, basically, to make them look nice. There's a lot that goes on that people don't realize. If they knew about it, they wouldn't eat there. And I'm sorry, Mickey D's, but that's the truth. So,
well, my wife and I only go to certain restaurants for two reasons. One, the food is outstanding, and I mean outstanding. And the second part is that it's mostly organic stuff. Now, where I live is in the woods, and these hillbillies up here won't stand for something that don't taste right or is in some way or another funky, as they consider it. Consequently, if you don't have good meat, don't buy it. It'll sit there and get moldy in the case. Mm-hmm. They will not fool with it, okay? We have enough cattle, sheep, and hogs up here that if you need fresh stuff. Now, when I say fresh, I'm talking about free range, grass fed, no chemicals.
Big difference.
Yeah. Not only does the food taste a lot better and a lot different, but you don't get the I don't know what the collateral damage.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That's what it is.
Yeah. So instead of being subject, people need to do the simplistic thing of getting their stuff right. In other words, somebody screws with you and you know it ain't right, go look it up. Everybody somewhere has access to the internet. If you don't have access, ask a friend. I'm sure they'd be, you're going to smack them down. I said, I'm going to try it, but I need a computer. Okay, well, come on over, man. We can have some chips and dip and party. Okay.
That's where people need to help each other out more than they have.
Exactly. Now, the problem with that is there's a whole load of people out there don't know their neighbors, never met them, don't know what they are. You know, what are you? I'm not sure. It depends on how you define that. Well, when you get up in the woods, it's simple. 1950s morality, period. Okay, gun country, period. And you have the freedom of choice to decide your life. It's not, you're not going to be told by some dingleberry school teacher, this is this, that's that, and here you are. Well, no, They school people, yes, but most of these kids spend their summers helping mom, dad, or grandpa or somebody on the farm or the ranch. They learn how to take care of cattle before they're old enough to vote. I mean, you know, then you have the secondary part of this, and this is a big split that everybody needs to really understand. You have a whole bunch of people out there, whether it's through privilege or what, doesn't matter, that ain't put their bare feet in grass in their whole life.
Not awful.
They don't know that Mickey D's comes from that funny-looking cow, etc. So that generation then, at the same time, has been fed the song and dance horse hockey that somebody owes them something. Well, I'm sorry, dude. Go make it yourself. I made mine. You go make yours. It's not, if you want to have heat in your cabin, you had to chop wood, okay, split it up and pile it up, and you had to get enough for the winter. You wanted something to eat, you had to go out and hunt. And I'm talking, and around here they hunt bear and mostly bears and deer, but we got bobcat, we got fox.
What are you going to hunt in the city? See, there's a difference.
Well, yeah, you're not going to be able to. Well, yeah. What are you going to hunt in the city? That's a neat question. Ask Chicago how many hunters they got out there. They're shooting 100 people a weekend. I mean, good Lord, guys, you need to stop somewhere, figure out that ain't the way to go. But now here's the other part. You don't want to leave yourself vulnerable or susceptible to somebody else who does have a gun. Well, that means that everybody needs a gun. Well, Chicago don't like that stuff. So maybe then you should have have a policeman with you whenever you go for a walk, whether you're walking Fluffy the dog or just walking down the block, okay? And the problem has come about. They still have somewhere near the same percentage of police as they did in the past. What's neat is now you got 10 times the number of people. There is no way they can keep up with that mess. Not possible. What does that bring about? That brings about the constitutional parameter of us taking care of business. Now, that don't mean you go out and blow somebody away. What that means is that you go out and throw a net over them, tie them up, take them down to the local police station. This sucker fish is doing whatever they feel like they want to. And when it came after my kids, I snatched it, tied it up, and brought it down here. Now, it's your job to figure out what to do with it. Now, the problem with all this is the law does not support people taking the initiative. That's where the problem comes in. And a lot of the law, realize it or not, is corrupt. It may not be the policemen themselves. It may just be the whole of the administration of the police department. It can be a variety of things. It can be, and it varies. But everybody needs to do a couple of things. Number one, your legal or constitutional rights are violated. You need to find out where to complain and who to complain to. The person that will do something, will get things done, will resolve an issue. That's the person you want.
And you keep going up. If you don't get satisfaction with somebody, you go to the next level. If it's a level thing, or what have you, you just keep going. Don't give up easily.
A lot of people make the mistake of staying within their own locality, be that small town or city they live in, and or county. Okay, then you have the state. Well, the state police are supposed to take care of business. Do they?
No.
Have they? Okay, well, no. What I'm saying is everybody needs to make formal complaints to all of the superior, okay, and I'm using that loosely, or higher level entities. If it's the state police, interesting. Maybe the attorney general for the state is corrupt too. And maybe you need to take it federal and see what the Attorney General Barr has to say about whether or not that dude is allowed to be there.
Now we're getting our republic back, because that would help a lot. The corporate nature of the entire situation has the problem that has taken over, I think. But if we get back to the republic, which is what we really need, that would help a lot. But people need to complain. Just like
that's what the Operation Red October is supposed to do. They're supposed to go in. I'll put it this way: they have arrest warrants for exceeding 100,000, and it says leaders. Now you look around, what kind of a leader are they talking about? Well, because 100,000 isn't very many. They've got 186,000. Indictments with some with arrest warrants attached in the Fed, ready to go. Okay, now we have a federal entity known as the United States Marine Corps, able to call up the National Guard for support or help, and able to call on the militias to say, "Let's go, man. We need you over here. Bring your guns or whatever you got." Okay, and what that means is that the people that have skated, sidestepped, been immune to or above the law, oops, they're in trouble. So that's basically where things lie right now. That's why you got all this fun and games going on. It's like the impeachment horse hockey. You want to get horse hockey? That's about as blatantly funky as it gets.
Beyond belief. Yeah, I say let's impeach Pelosi.
Well, they're doing an inquiry, okay, and that's all well and good, but if you're going to use subpoenas or legal leverages in order to cause people to testify or whatever, then they're going to have to make the inquiry into an official impeachment effort. Only way to do that is have vote in the House. Well, it's come out that Pelosi don't have the votes to carry it, even in her own party. So what this means is it'll never get off the ground. These people don't understand that when you issue a subpoena because of the inquiry into impeachment, you have to make the impeachment official, or none of your legalities, none of your subpoenas mean anything more than wallpaper.
Well, all this legal maneuvering and all this crap, what it really boils down to is people like Pelosi and so on are actively involved in human and child trafficking, in my humble opinion, and drug trafficking and all that, and they don't want that interfered with, and child sex trafficking too. And we're messing with their financial resources, and I say too bad.
Well, no, it goes deeper than that, because once these people are found out in terms of a true authority, it's bye-bye. They go to the pokey. They get to go live in the cooler for a few years.
Amen. It's about time.
Well,
time.
Okay. Well, with all of the upset and horse hockey going on, what has to be looked at is it started out a little bit, and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Now you got dingleberries screaming about it. Well, you can only go so far with all of that, and then you have to divide it up into, okay, they go past this part, then we need to get ready to do that. And that has supposedly been officially approved. I've seen the orders, let's put it that way.
All right. So Red October, why don't you explain that to anybody who might not understand exactly what you mean?
Well, there's two of them. Red October, everybody says, oh, the hunt for Red October. No, it ain't the movie. Red October is supposed to be a dumping of information, big chunks, publicly. All right. So anybody that has access to the internet or a TV, you can read all about it. Okay. And this is going to be the truth of the matters involving all of the questionable actions taken over the past, let's see here, 11 years. Actually, more like 15. That's one. The second one is where the Marines are authorized to arrest 100,000 leaders, and they are qualified to call up the National Guard in a state, particularly or whatever, in order to make that enforcement. Number three, if nip comes to tuck, they're going to also ask for the militias to join in with them. There's several militias that I'm aware of that are fine organizations. The corrupt FBI and CIA agents that have been screwing with them, taking them to jail and other things, they're on the list. So, and then no, it doesn't mean it don't mean you get to shoot them. You can't stomp the whatever out of them, but you can laugh in their face when they go to the cooler. Okay, now, most of the things that have been done, people don't realize what the sentencings are all about, how far they go and to what extent the law is allowed to take somebody. But very simply, average is 2 years and up. When I say 2 years and up, I mean some of the real minor infringements, 2 to 3. Okay, but 2 years is minimum. Okay, the more serious ones get 2 to 10. Are looking at 2 to 10. There are a bunch of them that are 5 to 25. If you have caused the forfeiture of life, the treason charges become rather nasty. You're talking capital offense. You're talking execution. And from what I understand, Gitmo is having a problem with places to stack the bodies from the executions. That's
Really?
how serious that's. Yeah, it's already been going on. There's a bunch of people who get a one-way ticket under in chains, hands behind you, whatever, with a gun pointed at your head. Get on the airplane. You got a one-way ticket. You're going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If they decide now, there's going to be some people, and I don't know. I'm not going to say exactly who I think it's going to be, but there are some people who are going to resist this. That means that when the federal marshals and or Marine Corps show up at the door, they're going to tell them to get away from the door, and that's not going to fly. No, you need to come out here. I'm not coming out. Then they'll break the door. Oh, does that mean that you got armed guards in there and we're going to have to take people out? Because if it does, they will, and they will not hesitate. There's going to be some resistance. How far, how big groups, I don't know yet. I've heard some rumors that a couple of large office buildings are full of cutthroats. I'd call them mercenaries, but I know some mercenaries, and a merc is more reasonable than people think. But a mercenary is the mercenaries that they've got in there. Soros is guarded by mercenaries. That's in there. There's one example. But there's a lot of this, and it's going around heavy. So.
And we were talking earlier about the fact that people like Big Pharma have mercenaries or their own armies, so to speak. Yeah. That's how we've ended up with deaths of holistic practitioners. And not just holistic ones, but anybody who seems to have found a cure for cancer or autism or whatever it happens to be.
Those are not mercenaries. Those are straight up hit squads.
Oh my God.
In other words, their expertise is being an assassin. Oh. They're going to kill people. That's what their orders are. Okay. Hillary's had several for years. They took out all but a couple, from what I heard. Big Pharma is telling their guys to hide under the bushes or something until the heat blows over. So you have, then the U.S. government has hit squads of their own for varying things. You have a combination of problems, mainly that there are people in critical areas or critical positions, and they'll do anything. And I mean that literally, anything. They don't care if it's your mama or grandma. It don't matter to them at all.
And they have the money to do it too, don't they?
Well, yeah, they have had to a large extent. Now, about half of the Clinton Foundation got closed up.
Oh, good.
But the other half
should get closed up.
The other half's got multiple 9-digit bank accounts. So you're talking, billions of dollars. What do you do? Okay. Plus all of the favoritism that they have garnered from varying foreign entities where they did them a favor. They helped them with this or did this, did that, so you have a convoluted situation in terms of that sort of thing. Then you got things like impeachment. Oh, yeah, we're going to screw with the president hard, heavy.
Well, it's a distraction, isn't it?
Well, this is what you have to understand. The majority of the political theater that's going on right now is distractory from the Middle East. What's happening over there? Syria's on fire. Turkey's the part of the problem. You have, and this is funny, you've got Syrian military working with the Kurds, and you got the Russians in between, and we stepped back and said, what a mess. You guys sort it out. I'm not interested in throwing hand grenades at everybody. The same sort of collateral damage and unrest and whatnot is getting ready to happen right here in the good old US of A.
Well, we need to clean up our own house right here too, don't we?
Well, and that's what I'm saying. When you talk, a lot of people are saying this, that, and the other thing. One of the stipulations I heard some time ago, and it dried up quick, was that Antifa, all those dumb kids never did squat in their whole life, they're coming with grandpa's shotgun and going, do us in. Oh, really? You better think twice about that. Apparently they did. I don't hear it anymore. But people of that nature, they need to be smacked down. They never have done anything of any positivity in their whole life, or anything at all for that matter, a lot of them. So you have more than just privilege, okay? You have people that believe that they have the right to rule over you, period. We don't care what you think or believe. We don't care about your condition. But if you don't kowtow, bow down and worship the ground we walk on, I'm going to bring 50 of my buddies over and we're going to have a party all around your head. Well, they make machine guns for that. But and then everybody is looking at this knight in shining armor supposed to come galloping over the hill on the white horse and save us all. Well, guess what? Ain't happening. That's the biggest crock of horse hockey going. Number two,
we need to save ourselves.
Well, ET has a non-interference directive. It's a prime directive. They cannot violate it. Okay. As we clean house, hopefully this action will come about. I mean, it's desperately needed, but as we clean house and start setting things right, ET then will start showing up. Bear that in mind. So we'll see how it goes. I mean,
So people shouldn't be just sitting back and waiting for other people to take care of business, because that's sometimes what it boils down to. Because even at their own level, there's things that they can, like you were saying, complain about or write up to somebody about, or do something.
Well, there's another aspect to this too. Any official, no matter what their official capacity may be, who refuses to do their job, what they're tasked to do, irrespective as to the reason, then the task, whatever it may be, falls to we the people. Now, I've seen, you hear about policemen being told to stand down by the mayor or something like this, okay? Well, not only do we have the right to implement our own enforcement of the law, and it's probably going to be nasty, but all of the policemen who obey an illegal order like that are liable. Liable for what? To have we the people take them to jail, to include mayors, chief polices, friggin' governors. It don't matter who. And so you say, oh, sanctuary, we don't have to obey the law. When you say that, when you make it official, you become liable. And these dinks don't. They're too stupid to understand, what part of no don't you understand? You can't do that. That's it. Trump's tried to get the message across, and they refused to pay attention. Then we had the adjudications in favor of sanctuary, so they can do what they want. Oh, really? Okay. Well, now what they're going to deal with is straight up hardcore enforcement of constitutional and federal law. And it don't matter unless you want to, you can pick up a weapon and stand opposed, or you can comply. Your choice. It's a Godfather deal. Very simple.
Are we talking constitutional prior to 1871?
Yeah, the original.
That's what we want. Yeah, that's getting the republic back. That's getting back what we.
Well, the republic will come back. The republic is already in the process of being restored through these actions. Okay, and the thing about that is that there doesn't have to be any action toward restoration of or whatever of the republic. It will restore itself because of the actions taken by certain individuals.
People in the position to help make the difference happen.
Yeah, exactly. So we need a whole lot more action, a whole lot less talking, or something like that.
Just like a more action, and the exposure is there. Now's the time for action. People need to take action on their own, whatever, and I'm not saying that, going out and
Get a group of people together. Don't do it on your own, because then you become the target of the law.
Yeah.
They will screw you over in a heartbeat. What you need to do is have like a whole community say, no, you ain't doing that. And when that happens and you stand out there, you come out of your house and say, hey, cut the bullshit and get out of here. You're no longer in charge. What do you mean? You abdicated your authority. That means that we, the people, pick up that authority. And that's constitutional. Everybody needs to learn to read and go read the Constitution. It's in there. Believe me, it is.
It's funny because in this little community where this apartment is, there was someone who was kind of advocating that sort of thing, because they actually, the gates are supposed to be shut and locked, and people have been leaving them open, which leaves it open for people that shouldn't be here, people that like police officers who actually should find out if they can come in or whatever. It should be done in a proper manner. It just, and it's not happening. But to see somebody actually out there doing that, and to see somebody actually filming something that's happening, is refreshing to see, because that's what more of that needs to happen.
Yeah. But there also needs to be enforcement. Any policeman that decides that their oath of office is nothing more than toilet paper could really get themselves in a deep bind, not just getting fired, losing their badge and surrendering your gun, but being blackballed nationally to a point where you never are allowed to be in law enforcement again, period, for life. Now, the other thing is that I've heard a lot of this. We need to talk about it. Okay. And one of the people I took issue with has a very popular show on RT. And what's neat about it is that he says we got to negotiate. My question to that man, I sent him an email. I never got a response, but I sent him an email and I said, okay, when the armed dope addict who is jonesing out because it needs a fix real bad comes breaking in your front door, are you going to fall down on your knees and pray? Are you going to negotiate a settlement? What are you going to do? Well, at a certain point, you have to understand that negotiation fails. At a certain point, negotiation fails. And I'll give you an example. United Auto Workers are out on strike because negotiation failed. All right? The ideology of talking about something, that's all well and good unless you got something driving you, something wanting to grinch up behind you and do a number on you, okay? This is where you have people who are work an awful lot. They have something, whatever it may be, or people that are constantly moving around. And I don't mean changing location permanent. I'm saying moving around a lot. There's a very simple thing about that. Something is coming up behind you, and it's gaining. What is it that's behind you that's grinching up, wanting to do you? And this is the sort of thing that has to be considered. It's basically psychological, and it can be taken care of without problems. But you have to understand, too, that a lot of the, and I use this term loosely, news that you see or hear is tainted. It's bogus, and it's horse hockey. They use a thing called psychological operational parameters where they put certain things in place in a certain manner in an article or a newscast so that it looks like, ooh.
Yes, that's so true.
CNN has finally been had their feet held to the fire and admitted that the whole thing is bogus. Pretty simple.
That's another thing that needs to stop. The mass media needs to start reporting the truth, and they're not.
Okay, well, there's two options on that. First, they could go in and tell them, cut the shit. And I mean in no uncertain terms.
So who will tell them that?
Huh?
Who will tell them that?
Federal marshals accompanied by federal attorneys from the Justice Department. Okay, and that just goes to civilian law enforcement kind of things. If you want to really make an impact, it's real simple. If and you had it happen right here on your show, the little puppies squatted on the wires and disconnected our butts. Okay, there's a little caveat to all this. Each and every last station or individual, okay, has a licensing, including you. You agreed to YouTube's parameters, okay? Blog Talk has it, all right? I mean, you're talking about everybody. So does MSNBC, CNN, etc. Pick one. Show me your bravado. Show me your courage. Pick one, snatch it, and pull the friggin' plug. Delete their capability of having a broadcast license. Then, and I mean, they couldn't withstand the federal government landing on them full force. You're talking hundreds of billions of dollars, more than the place is worth, even if you sell the paper clips.
Nothing talks like money talks, you know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you want to get the point across, and you want to make a statement to these people, you're done. Pull the plug. Watch and see. You talk about scrambling. Give me a group of federal marshals and the authority to pick whom I'm going to land on. Just those two things. Just those two items only. And I'll guarantee you're going to hear the biggest screech and squawk and whatever this country's ever heard on a land on somebody. And I'm not going to land on them arbitrarily. This is stuff that's part of, and this is neat, the public record. Okay, this is where you say, oh, you have to have two people who appear before the House of Representatives in order to file treason charges. Horse hockey. All you got to do is have it in the public record. Bingo. Then one person can say, here's the charges, pass out all the paperwork and say, whether you agree with it or not, there it is. Oh, and the federal marshals just picked that turkey up. So the efforts of everybody, no matter how good their intentions or situations or whatever may be, it goes to enforcement.
Yeah, it does. That's been an issue. And that's hard for the people when it comes to enforcement, because that happens on the other side of the fence when it's the law that's overstepping. And I don't mean the law, I should say policemen that are overstepping their bounds. Yeah. That gets...
There's more good cops than there are bad ones. And there's more good, and that's true. Well, and that's true in each and every last. That's true in each and every last one of the law enforcement agencies, be it local, state, etc. FBI, CIA, NSA. Okay, there's more good ones than bad ones. The problem is hold on. The problem is that the bad ones have leverage over the good ones. That's why the good ones ain't doing nothing, and that leverage is about to come to a screeching halt. Supposedly, the Red October drop or dump of information will show the treasonous actions taken by a huge number of individuals. The Red October operation is where they go and do the laundry. I mean, we're going on spin cycle.
Oh, because I've known, and I've heard stories anyway, of law enforcement, like the good guys end up getting, I I hate to say off, but they end up losing to the bad guys. So it makes it seem like there's more bad guys than good guys. But
Exactly. Well, that's the enforcement. Well, the ideology of enforcement of the law needs to be mitigated. It needs to be changed. You shouldn't have LEOs, law enforcement officers. What you should have are safety officers, like the Texas Rangers. Different deal altogether. They go in and mitigate problems. They go in and see what the problem is. What's the problem here? Asshole keeps shooting at me. I said, did you shoot back? I said, of course I did. Well, don't shoot back until I get back to talk with you. And you go over and talk to the other guy. I've been around hostage situations, you name it, pretty much. And what eventually ends up is that there was no validity to what's going on. 9 times out of 10, guy was shooting at a rabbit, missed, and the bullet ricocheted off a rock and put a hole in his canteen. Some of a bitch is shooting at me. I'm going to shoot back. And off and down the road, Hatfields and McCoys. Oh, yeah.
There just is no Andy Griffin anymore. You know what I mean? Those kind of cops, it's more like, you do what I say, and you just, if you don't,
anyway, so
yank you out of your place, or I'm going to do whatever. It's just not,
Well, as I get it and what I understand and all of the things I've been hearing lately from my sources and whatnot, Operation Red October is going. It's supposed to happen, period. Hopefully it'll happen the 31st. It's supposed to, now if it was me and I was in charge and they were going to go collect a bunch of people, I would have the federal marshals knock on the door. When the door opens, you go, trick or treat. Come with me, boy. You ain't in trouble. Okay. You might as well enjoy it. Okay.
Well, do you want to answer some questions?
Yeah, we might you need to get to that.
Unless you have anything else on any other updates that are important about what's going on right now, or intel.
The orbital parameters of the Earth and a few other things have been being modified. It may be difficult to understand, but archaeoastronomy is where you see the moon's coming up over here, say. Okay. And then all of a sudden it switches to over here. Oops. They give themselves away doing that. And then you got the angle of the sun. Sun comes in at an angle, let's see here, an angle of, say, like this, and all of a sudden it goes down like this, and then it shoots back up again. Duh, something's moving around.
How do you explain that one, eh?
Well, ET has stipulated that there are certain things that have to be done for the sake of the survival of humanity as well as the planet, and they're doing them.
And that's why people need to start getting involved too, to do something.
Getting involved, you can't. ET's not going to allow you to get involved in that. They don't trust it. Just
people need to get involved.
Well, the quicker that we take care of our problems and clean up our own nest, the sooner we'll see ET and the assistance. Care packages and you name it. So, up to us in some respects.
Okay. Someone asked a question. The Schumann resonance. Speaking of the Earth and these new the Schumann resonance has had a big blackout. Can you explain that?
Yeah, they don't want you to know where it's at, and they also don't want you to see the differential between what the old Schumann resonance was in terms of the waveform. There's a waveform involved. Ooh, people didn't know that, I'll bet. Well, okay, let's blow some minds. It's now a totally different kind of waveform over here, and it's moving around. And it's higher, lower. If you look at it straight up, it looks like the Schumann frequency is higher. Actually, it does not vary. Now, the waveform is the key to that. If you change the waveform of an electric current through a wire, and you got an oscilloscope, it'll look like that mother went off scale.
But there are actually blackouts.
Well, like I said, they don't want nobody to know.
Oh, okay.
They threw a cloak of invisibility over the top of it, just like probably got it from Harry Potter. I don't know.
Okay, here's another one. What ET races are benevolent?
Majority of them.
The majority of them?
Yeah, most of. I have yet to meet an ET that's really a nasty sourpuss. Let's eat humans kind of deal. I've met a few that used to eat humans, and they quit, not because they wanted, not because there was any pressure to do so, but they did not feel correct about doing that. So in terms of that, they went to higher authority, and the higher authority says, "Good, don't no more snacks for you."
Okay. Well, here's another question. Does our president converse with ETs?
Not directly yet, no. He's got a couple of people that try, and they ain't the greatest thing in the world. That's why the certain entities, to include official subdivisions of the federal government, as well as the federal government itself, gets a briefing on my shows. My shows are not as nice as this one. This one is basically being nice and just simply, oh yeah, well, if you fall down and step on it, it might hurt, kind of thing. Whereas mine, I'm throwing hand grenades.
Okay. Yeah, someone else asked, what is the difference between the Dracos and the reptilians?
Okay. Reptilians have been around longer than the Dracos, but it's not exactly Draco. There's 3 of them, of which I am a part of. I have an email that says Dragos. Okay, and if you look up Draco, Drako, you'll find Drago, Drago. That means of the dragon lineage, which is part of what I am. Okay, so you have the differential is simple. Each one has about an equal amount of good and bad and whatever involved in their particular races. The Drago would look more like a dragon. And what you have to understand about these ancient beings is that they had feathers. They didn't have scales. Whereas the other one has scales. That's the easiest, the quickest way to tell. You look, you see feathers, you're good. Generally, not to say that one is better than the other, but more of them are listening. Okay.
Well, that reminds me of the movie Dragonheart. The dragon.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay. Are there any real pictures of ETs, or are they just artist renditions?
Oh, there's plenty of real pictures. I can send you some if you want.
Oh, yeah, please do. Please do. We might add them in little blurbs.
Some of them are kind of ugly, but see, one of the things I asked when I went to a council meeting was very simple. I looked at the turkey, and it was, nasty. I mean, this kind of thing make your stomach rumble. Just look at it, okay? I don't know what it'd be like if you touched it, but I said, I got to ask, and you seem to be the most reasonable entity I've run across so far. Do I look as ugly to you as you look to me? And the ET busted, the first time anybody had ever heard one of these ETs laugh, busted up laughing. This is all hell yes. So there you go.
Okay. All right. Here's another question. Who or what is Bigfoot?
Who or what is Bigfoot? That varies according to where you're at on the planet and which kind. There are several kinds. I've been in touch with Bigfoot, and some are ET, some are indigenous. Most of them are not interested in humans. They don't like humans. We have a tendency to shoot at them, among other things, which does not, that's a hell of a way to say, hey, man, guess what? Bang,
Yeah.
It's just not cool. So, yeah, sometimes they watch us from a distance, They'll come to the edge of the forest, or they'd be back in just a little ways but they can still see out and watch what we're doing. Sometimes they learn things that way about, oh, well, maybe if I did that, They found whole villages of ET type or ancient man types with domesticated, or if you can call a wild animal domesticated, good luck. Domesticated livestock, hooches, huts, or whatever you want to call it in terms of some kind of a thing to live in, and crops. So don't put Bigfoot down as bogus. Now, some of them have had bad experiences at whatever time in their life, and they hate humans and will do everything they can to drive you off or hurt you so badly you'll never come back. Those are, and then there again, like I said, those of us who don't cause any or have the intent of any harm, that's a big difference. Mostly the communications are telepathic, so go from there.
Oh, okay. Let's see. We know, I think we answered this last time, but it's okay to ask again. We know what happened in 9/11. What I'm asking is, when is the mainstream media going to say what happened in 9/11? Because we still have a lot of people that don't realize that it was an incident.
Wait until after Red October. See what goes on at that point, because I heard that all of this stuff is going to be outed. That's part of the information drop. Now, by an information drop, I mean cable channels, satellite TV channels, broadcast channels, etc. They're going to be carrying all this stuff. There's going to be like an information drop of this, and this. Now, 9/11 was not a simple deal. So what they're going to do is they're going to put the whole thing together in a documentary form, say, and present it. And I'm not talking about the shit that you hear, nobody did that. Oh, the terrorists did. Oh, right. Okay. They're going to put the proof out and see who don't like it. Okay.
Good.
And that's on one subject. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, there is. I've read a lot about it. It's amazing. Okay. How can we order a med bed, or can we ask ETs to help us now for healing? There's a death situation for a lot of people.
Well, unless you got a shitload of money, ordering a med bed's precluded by the price. It'd be easier to find one somewhere that somebody's using and ask them if you can use it too. Generally, there's no problems sharing. Now, the thing is, as we see more of ET, we clean our own nest up to the point where ET can feel safe to come here and interact with us. Then you're going to see all of the things that you need come about.
Okay. Oh, there was a lot of talk that last week. We didn't talk about all the horse that's going on in California. Electricity's been out. There's reports of people disappearing. There's more dew. They're wondering, the more fires. Was it caused by dew or what? You
have to understand what's really going on. The Santa Ana wind's been blowing since before man occupied that area very much, okay? It is not the problem. Two things are. One is, we do not, as the originals did, husband the forest. Pick things up and compile them in a certain place, take the fuel away from the area where a fire might be. Okay, that's only one part of it. Secondly, and I just love this one to death. A couple of really brilliant people, both of them engineers, have come up with, and I'm not using this term loosely, I'm using it directly as stated, a fireproof house. By that I mean that they have had people in houses that were in as bad or worse fires. No problem. The only thing it did was it screwed up the paint. So you might have to paint the place. It didn't break any windows. It did not suffocate people. It did not burn the house up. When I say fireproof, I mean it. Yes, it's more expensive, but not all that much. You're going to build there anyway, well, fine. In varying coastal areas, hurricanes and big storms come in and wipe out the whole thing. All the houses, sidewalks, roads, infrastructure, electricity, water, sewer, that sort of. And these people have been demanding that it be built back. Well, the government has finally put their foot down. No, you can't build there anymore. You got to go inland about 5-10 miles. You got to go to higher ground, or whatever the situation may be. You may not build out here, and we're not putting in water, sewer, or any of that, period. Why should the government, put up with that? Well, I own the property. I can do what I want. Well, fine. Get you a house trailer and stick it over there. But you ain't going to have no water and sewer? What do you mean? We're not going to continually, every year or so, expend the kind of money it takes to put that stuff back when it's torn out. That's that simple. There's a lot of places in Florida. There's some that have taken place on the West Coast where it's dangerous to occupy a building in a certain area when they have stipulated that in building code or law or however they've done it, and the people build in a little different area, you don't lose all of the homes to fires. You don't fall off in the ocean or whatever the case may be. And it's beginning to work. It's called common sense. Why they call it common when it seems to be so rare, I don't have a clue.
Maybe it used to be common at one time.
Yeah, don't stick whatever's in the fire. It might hurt.
Okay, next question. What ET races are here to help?
There's about 2,500 different individual races that are that switch off now and again. They trade back and forth. Nobody wants to be out in space forever, so consequently they go home. Well, when they go home, another group comes in. It's just that simple. And when I say 2,500, that's conservative. I heard there was 250,000. So I'll say 2,500 totally different races now. So there you go.
Andromedans, Arcturians.
Yeah.
Some other. I know there's more, but that's all that's.
All of them and their mother-in-law.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next question. Are the Anunnaki still here, and are they good or are they bad?
Anunnaki could be either way. The ones found in the underground dome where they were digging have been mined. If they pass too much gas, that particular one will get blown up. We don't trust them for the simple fact that they want to rule, period. Absolute rulership now. And they've got some weaponry that is pretty funky nasty. So, we don't want to trust it until such time as they actually come back to consciousness from their stasis condition, and we get to talk to them. Nothing's gonna happen. And yeah, the Anunnaki are still here.
Yeah, and aren't they the ones that genetically altered us in such a way for slavery and so on and so forth?
Among other things, yes.
Among other.
Don't leave the grays and greens and a few others. There's multiple ET interests that they tried to put us in the condition to answer. Okay, their interests or agenda or whatever it is, that's a part of what we have become. Now we're getting ready for a second great alteration on a totally physical basis to include your mind and your body, all of it. Okay, and when I say alteration, I mean to the good, an improvement in the system, an upgrade, if you will, and it's the type of upgrade that eliminates 90% of the problems we have because of what we walk around in. Okay.
Wow. Okay. Here's an interesting one. I don't know if you want to answer this or not, but we'll see. Do you know if Nancy Pelosi is really ordering a sleeper to murder Trump? That's a wish.
Okay.
I said that.
That's classified, but I hereby stipulate that I have been authorized to divulge classified information. That's my disclaimer. And here is how what happened. The individual was sent, and nobody knows how it happened. Nobody knows who really did it. But they found that thing splattered all over a wall in small chunks. All of it. Like they shot it with a cannon or something, only it didn't have the explosiveness to blow to incinerate the little pieces. What it did was it exploded in such a manner that it just splattered. Like a bug on a windshield.
Wow. Okay.
The last thing to go through a bug's mind when they hit the windshield is their asshole. So, go from there. Love that.
Okay. Alrighty then. Next question. Did Biden really reveal the 17th date to go after Trump?
No. The boy would like to be a lot more than he is, and he pretends to be, but he ain't.
Yeah.
So, and wait till they get done and finding out the fun and games in terms of, they didn't do nothing wrong, I bet.
Yeah. Well, I have a little trouble with somebody that I see molesting young girls and women right on camera. I have a little issue with that. But anyway, we'll move on to the next one. What is the argument to make such that under any circumstances you can always be able to talk yourself out of any kind of vaccination?
I refuse shots of any kind. I have a certain requirement that needs to be met. Number one is very simply purity. It may contain the antigen and clinically pure water only. And the second part of it is they get to certify it. I haven't had a shot in years. I won't get a shot in years. The problem with vaccinations is that they are designed in such a manner that when they are introduced to your system, it's like an explosion, almost like getting shot, only it's chemical. And it does shit to you that you would not believe is possible to do to a human being and have them survive. A lot of babies don't survive on that very basis.
And a lot of young girls with this HPV are being made.
They're giving HPV to boys. They're giving HPV to boys.
Yeah, they're doing it to boys.
Okay, here's the deal. The public entities that we send people to. One of those is public school. Public school is required by law to have parental permission to do any of the funny things that have been going on lately. Vaccines. Oh, we're going to have LGBTQ in the library and everybody's required to attend. No, they're not required to attend. As a matter of fact, people who do that sort of thing make themselves liable. Why? Because they're overstepping a simple fact of life, and that's called parental consent.
And that's where, just like you said, that's where parents need to take these guys to task and to say, no, that's not happening.
If they won't listen, visit them after school. It's pretty simple.
A bunch of parents get together and go talk to the principal or the public health nurse or whoever is.
Well, this comes from the National Education Association. They're dictating to the school systems what they're supposed to do. We're going to teach you how to be a faggot, queer, whatever you want to call it. And no, you ain't teaching my kid that. That's my job, not yours. Oh, well, they got to be sensitive. Well, how about I sensitize your head? Hey, seriously. I have offered that to a couple of so-called all that administrators in certain school systems that decided they were in charge of my parental rights. And they didn't like it very much. I said, baby cakes, we ain't going to local court. What do you mean? I said, this is going to be a federal lawsuit for one. Number two, I'm going to be waiting in the bushes every time I see you. You're going to get thumped. Oh my, he didn't like that at all. Is that a threat? I was, what, is this being videotaped without my permission or knowledge, foreknowledge? If so, you can erase it. I mean, hey, fun.
Okay. All righty. Oh, we had this question before too, but
Okay, what is it?
why do we, I think you explained this well before, but maybe somebody didn't hear it. Why do we have to go live in a box while people like Trump get to keep their property and all their toys?
We have to go live where?
In a box. Remember the one time you talked about a small...
No.
You also explained about the expansiveness of...
Oh, Lord. We get to keep what we want until such time as it becomes evident that we don't really need it. At that point, you will be schooled why you don't need it, or how to share it, or if you don't want to, that's your choice. You have the freedom of will to decide that. Okay, live in a box. Well, there's a lot of people I know of that that need to be living in a box. You know, the one that's got them little bars across the windows.
Okay, you're going to love this question too. I think we've answered this one before as well. Can you please explain about God and Jesus, and is the Bible from God as it is claimed to be? And who is that God?
I'm going to answer the last one first. No, that's from the church. Why is it from the church? They want to keep their collection plate full.
Exactly.
Okay, now, in terms of Jesus Christ, okay, that is an office occupied by a variety of different entities and individuals. God, as we would like to think of God, is the creator, the one that created this, put it all together. Made, you know, how many different kinds of bugs are there? We ain't even discovered them all yet. We haven't bothered to swim to the bottom of the ocean and find out what's down there yet. I mean, there's, you know, and yet we consider ourselves so superior that we can do anything that we want. Well, that time is coming to an end real quick. So, you know, be prepared. There's going to be some changes that people are not going to know what to do with.
Prime creator.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Someone who we know is claiming that Jesus has arrived and is talking with Lucifer, who is claimed to be a divine being, and also saying that people and many more are not dead, like Jackie Onassis, Princess Diana, Elvis.
Okay, well, let me take
Janis Joplin, Bob Marley. So anyway, and Michael Jackson. What do you have to say, Drake?
Well, death is not real. That's bogus horse hockey that the church uses for fear. Oh, you're going to hell, sinner. Well, no, I'm sorry, but there isn't any such place. That's first. Number two, and this is the neat part, the religiosity of everything. All of the parameters of every religion was decided in a convention. And guess where it was held? Tehran, Iran. Way back in the day, okay? In terms of realizing these things, all of these things will be made not only perfectly clear, but also in such a manner that you have undeniable proof. Now, it's not going to be easy to change beliefs in terms of something that somebody has believed down in their core for so long. But that is also something that is mitigated in the teaching, okay?
Okay. Yeah, that brings up a big case of cognitive dissonance for a lot of people who haven't been open their mind. But okay. Let's see. Is it true that people are disappearing in California at FEMA camps after trying to recharge their cell phones?
Only because they don't want the government to snatch their phone, maybe. I mean, if there was large-scale disappearances, people would notice. No, what you're having is onesie, twosie, eeny, meeny, chili beanie kind of stuff all over the place. And a lot of the disappearances are the idea of the person that disappeared. I'm done with your, keep it. I'm out of here. See?
Okay, here's another one. Are UN troops here or in Mexico, and why are they here or there?
Well, the UN's here,
Right.
unfortunately. The problem is that, well, they think they're going to be peacekeepers, and the problem is that they don't realize that all of the militias consider them a nice, easy target with that nice blue helmet and shit. They intend to blow their brains out. Now, UN troops might want to pay attention to that simply because the United States is not recognizing them. Well, they got a right to be here. They did that correctly. But all the rest of it, no. Now, what part of no don't you understand? Oh, okay. Let's make it a Godfather deal. You put the gun to their head and you say, either your signature or your brains will be on the contract. And that's basically what they were offered. They decided to laugh about it. Well, guess what? They're going to find out the hard way that they are going to be standing opposed to patriots of the United States that don't want them here. Okay.
Don't want them here. I don't like the UN. I'm sorry. I have nothing good to say about them, but that's my opinion. Okay. William Thomas says there is no plan to move forward or restore humanity. What do you say to that?
Bullshit.
That's a straight up answer.
I read a whole shitload of it.
Mm-hmm.
He says there's no plan. It's bullshit. It's kept, portions of it are being outed as we speak. They take pages out of the binder and present portions of them, not the whole page necessarily, that give directives as to how to go about what's going on. It's a script, so to speak, and everybody's playing along.
Is there any point in investing in silver stock, and at what point would it be a good idea to do so?
Well, you can do it any old time you want. I already have some gold and silver, so I'm not really concerned about it. The thing you have to look at is that part of the operation, as stipulated by Ben Fulford, is that the financial is going to go through afterbirth changes. Okay?
Well,
seriously.
Okay. All right. Someone asked, is the food from replicators light energy, LIGHT?
Everything is derived, all the physicality is derived from light. What happens is you slow light down and you end up with things like a pencil or whatever, okay? Humans, I mean, it varies. But yes, light is a form of interactive energy. Now, a replicator takes both dark energy and dark matter and combines them in such a manner that we're familiar with, such as a cheeseburger or whatever y'all trying to get out of it.
Okay. Well, what about that light language that they talk about? What is that?
Good luck with that. I understand it because I've been speaking it for years. In terms of light language, it's an expression of, it's not it's not true light speak, because if you did that, it would be an inverse holographic presentation that nobody could understand. It is like a hieroglyph of what the language is stipulating. Now, what that involves is that one small symbol can cover a whole paragraph in terms of its meaning and application and whatnot. So what you have to understand is that you have to literally be experienced with it or forget it.
Yeah, I've heard people speak it, or that's what they say.
I doubt it because it's not a vocal language.
Oh, because it sounds like gobbledygook to me. Anyway, that's just my opinion.
Well, there's a lot of people out there that speak in tongues, and tongues is supposedly the language of the angels. That's all well and good. But it is not light language.
Ah, okay, that's good enough. Okay. What about secret societies? Are we going to see an end to secret societies?
Oh, I don't know. It depends on whether or not they decide they want to give it up. Quite frankly, you've got secret societies that are bigger than the cabal, and they're helping us. So
They are helping us?
oh yeah. They don't want to put up with the horse hockey any longer. Just as simply as we don't like it, they don't like it either. I mean, the cabal has stepped on everybody's toes, and their time is coming to an end very, very shortly.
Well, then I run into people that say, well, who is the cabal?
Who's the cabal? Oh, good Lord.
How would you answer that? Give me an answer.
everybody that does nefarious things for personal gain, whether it's power or what it may be, that's exactly what it is, the cabal. You don't turn it on and off. If you are involved at say, high levels, you're done. It's like the mafia. It's a lifetime commitment. Only in this case, there isn't anybody that's going to tell on you. They just eliminate you. Okay?
Okay.
That's as succinct as I know how to put it.
Okay. Then there are some questions about, well, what's the truth about climate change?
Well, that's very simple. It's real. Now, here's the fun part. We don't have squat to do with it. It deals with the orbital positioning, etc., of our planet. At the point that we can adjust our orbit, we might maybe be able to do something about it. But stopping smoking, stopping everything, if mankind as a whole, every person on the planet, now this is going to be fun, didn't take a dump, didn't take a whiz, and didn't fart, and I'm talking about all of us and all the animals, you'd make somewhere, and no gasoline or any of that stuff. Okay, you might make, and this is a high end of the range of estimate, a 2% difference. Whoopee! People are so full of shit. What the deal is? You hear carbon tax brandied about. Well, every legislator that approves it gets a little bag of cash on his. Real simple. They want to cut.
Self-enrichment, yeah. When will corporate America be exposed for what it really is, for the corporations and not for the people?
It has just started that recently by way of some research in Mother Jones Magazine and a couple of others. What's going on is that the corporatocracy is beginning to fail for the simple fact that their bonds are failing. So they don't have the financial, base that they need. The foundation is gone. Consequently, they're stuck. There's no way out of that. So you're going to have major corporations, big ones, household names, just go poof and not be there anymore. Think in terms of what would happen if Walmart vanished. You begin to get the picture.
Wow, okay. When will the censorship of the truth on the internet, like say with Google or with Facebook, we get put in Facebook jail for saying certain things. Stuff just happens to disappear.
All of this is in process. I'm going to do some things here and see what happens.
Okay.
The operation, the nomenclature Red October, that's one of my deals. So there you go. Now you know one of the perpetrators. Ooh, I'm a perp. Oh my God.
Oh, well, so are we supposed to wear red all October? Maybe we should.
I got some red framed sunglasses I could wear. I mean, about as far as I'll go.
So I've noticed there are quite a few reports of arrests of pedophiles going on and sex trafficking.
Yeah, they're breaking all that up.
Yeah.
What they basically are finding is that people are using places like California as a sort of a hub or subway station to run them over to Arizona or other places, to underground bases and whatnot, so that they can be shipped over to the oligarch that bought one.
Oh my God. Yeah, I also read something about the monarchy abdicating. or giving up their. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, it's like eating your babies. Remember, we can solve climate change. Just fry the kids. Hey, I'm dead serious. This was said seriously. I don't know how, what's everybody's limit? I mean, how far you willing to go? Somebody starts playing that game and go after my grandkids, I'm going to shoot them. I don't care who they are.
Yeah, really. Wow.
I mean, it's like Buttigieg or whatever his stupid name is. We're going to take your guns. Oh, really? Oh, what do you want to bet? You better bring a good supply of body bags. That's first. Number two, after we get done playing with the so-called big bad guys you send for us, we're going to come and visit you. Oops.
What about the people that take oaths to the Crown or the Vatican or whoever that are in America and are basically
that's the bar that you're talking about, and
yes.
The fun part about that is that is going to be chopped off.
It is. Oh, that's good.
Literally chopped off. These people will have a choice: renounce and they're going to sign paperwork about this. This is not just games. They're going to sign paperwork, stipulation. Okay, if they're not willing to do that, then they lose their citizenship in the United States, and their ass will be shipped to wherever they want to go, somewhere else. And I don't mean Canada or Mexico. I'm talking like Great Britain. Like the British Authorized Registry, go over there and join them.
Wow, that's good news. I like to hear that. That's for sure, because people don't know that.
I tell people that Red October is real and it's coming and it's going to hurt. It's going to be painful. There's going to be screaming. You just wait.
Wow. Well, that's good news. I like that because
I like it too.
It's a mafia. I mean, the bar is a mafia.
Among other things.
Monopoly. Pardon?
Among other things.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it clean so that you can get your quota,
So they don't censor us. Okay.
You can't say that or want to bet. I just say it in a way that you don't think it's nasty.
Okay. For example, well, we talked about this a little bit earlier too, and I think there's a real conflict of interest when, and it doesn't just happen here in Arizona, but it's also in other states as well. And that's when you have a governor signing a contract with the private prison system saying that they will keep a 100% occupancy rate, which then legislators have a tendency to add all these things, which is why we are incarceration nation, because it's all about money.
That's part of it. Now, the privateering of prison systems is ending. Federal government is stipulating that you cannot have private prison systems. They're reverting back to the states for the simple fact that the state is ultimately, because of the contract, responsible and can be held liable for all of the fun and games that go on in a private prison system. They don't want that. Oh my goodness, oh man, raise holy hands to the Lord and save us, Jesus. They will not allow that sort of obligation to happen. You're talking about taking several times a state's income and applying it multiple times over periods of years. And it just, if you take all the revenues, I mean, all of them in a state, and put it all in a big glob, and hand it out, that covers the first 300 lawsuits. What are you going to do for the next 3,000? It's real simple. It's not complicated. They tried to set things up, and I'm going to cover this on my show, in such a manner that they're not liable. They're not responsible for this. Okay, so consequently, they can say, "Oh, they did it." Well, this is why you have city controllers. Mm-hmm. This is why you have councils. If the council votes, the people that vote, whichever way it may, go in terms of the vote itself, the people that vote for something are obligated to that something. And that's a part of contract law that a lot of people ignore. You need to study up your contract law. Verbal contracts are enforceable. Ooh-wee. Oath of office violations are enforceable. Ooh-wee. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about not just shrinking somebody's underwear. You're talking about cutting it off, literally. And I don't think that everybody necessarily needs that kind of treatment, but there's a load of them that should not have a badge or a gun or be in any way, shape, or form in any position of responsibility because they've proven that they're not responsible. Oh, now all of a sudden, the lady that got shot recently, she's babysitting her nephew. Oh, she had a gun. Really? You got the video to prove it? No. Then it's hearsay. Ooh. The guy's already resigned. That kept him from firing him. Shot through a window and killed the lady. Well,
wow. It's just like it's become more profitable for people to be held in jail than it is to before they're even, it's gotten to the point of being guilty until proven innocent instead of innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, it's called due process. And the other part of it is that I note that all of the main social entities, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, etc., think that if somebody says, well, maybe they ought to do it to that person, as they have done to these people, they take objection to that. Oh, that's hate speech. No, it isn't hate speech. It's an offer. Really? It's an open offer to what would you do if somebody had a gun and you didn't have one and they start shooting at you? Hello? Is that going to bother you? Is that going to mess up your day? I mean, Dirty Harry had it right. Go ahead, make my day. Well, it's not difficult.
Well, I look forward to some of these things happening and coming forward because there's so many injustices that have been done to people, the people, and there are certain classes of people that have just been able to be exempt.
Yeah, they're above the law.
Exactly.
How do you think they get away with murder when everybody knows they did it?
Yeah, well, I'm as tired of it as you are, and a lot of people are too. So I hope people stick together on that, and we see these changes come forward in this next year.
I hope. So is it time for us to roll up the?
It is. We can wrap this one up, and it was another week of wonderful information and intel. And I thank you very much, Drake, for your time and listen.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're not going to be available next week, right?
That's right. I'm going to be out of town, so
okay.
We'll probably miss a show by a day or something like we did on this, or whatever, however that works.
Oh, okay. Well, we can just schedule it on another day. Then you can just let me know when you're available.
We'll see when I get back into back to humanity. I'll judge whether or not I'm gonna fall over and all that.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Well, thank you once again. And thank you, audience, for listening. And I hope you enjoyed the show. And we'll be back. We don't know when, but we'll be back.
Bye.
Bye.